A new stimulus package is introduced to Congress minutes ago with two key words: retroactive payments. Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update for today, with great news and bombshell news about a new stimulus package introduced minutes ago today. Yes, this is the first of 3 second stimulus check videos we'll be delivering today. Coming up later, we will be detailing a really shocking stimulus update about new plans that could be delivering not a second, but also a third and fourth stimulus package later this fall. And finally, we'll be answering your PUA and UI questions in our third stimulus package update. But let's get right to the news on this second stimulus real shocker that no one saw coming. Minutes ago, a new stimulus package, second stimulus package, was introduced with 2 great words that all viewers of this channel love: retroactive payments. Who does it come from? Shockingly, Marco Rubio, who has been the topic of the discussion of this channel for some time. Thursday, Senators Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida, and Thom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, introduced a new stimulus package, and they introduced it into the Senate. If you don't know, and this was sort of one of the topics of discussions in one of the comments yesterday, one of the viewers said all bills start in the House. Not true. They can also start in the Senate. And this one started in the Senate. If you didn't catch it, it is hot off the presses. It's called the American Citizen Coronavirus Relief Act, and it seeks to amend the CARES Act of March, the first stimulus package. What's really fascinating about this is it's not inherently going to replace the second stimulus package, which we know is coming up to a vote in July. This channel has detailed that the second stimulus package is arriving for a vote when members of Congress reconvene in late July and will get approved, this channel is reporting, around August 8th. That's the final day the members of Congress are in session before they take yet another vacation. The HEROES Act is certainly one of the bills, but it's not the only bill. And this one, moments ago, is yet another. It seeks to give additional payments retroactively to people who were not paid under the CARES Act in March. How does this work? It basically does it very simplistically. It expands the scope of eligibility of first stimulus checks to people who are excluded under the CARES Act. So eligibility was based upon certain income criteria in the CARES Act, if you recall. Individuals of income up to $75,000 were getting full payment, and couples were getting $150,000 were getting checks under the first stimulus program. Checks were reduced or phased out for people who made over $90,000 under the CARES Act and $198,000 for a married couple. But there were certain people who simply didn't qualify for checks, first stimulus checks, under the CARES Act. And that's what this seeks to do. The American Citizen Coronavirus Relief Act would reverse the CARES Act and allow that payments, stimulus checks, would be paid retroactively to couples who file jointly where there is a non-citizen spouse. So what does that mean? Let me explain it to you. So if you are a husband and your wife is not a U.S. citizen, but the husband's a U.S. citizen, the wife is not a U.S. citizen, she did not get a stimulus check. She did not get a stimulus check under the CARES Act. Or the wife was a U.S. citizen, the husband was not. He didn't get a stimulus check. She did. Well, the American Citizen Coronavirus Relief Act, introduced by Marco Rubio and Thom Tillis moments ago, seeks to give that non-citizen spouse a stimulus check he or she did not get the first time around. This, of course, is retroactive, and it does not replace the second stimulus check debate that we're already dealing up with. It would also pay other people who are left out of the first stimulus check. Who are they? Children who are 17 years or under would be eligible for payment provided they're U.S. citizens and had one parent who is a U.S. citizen. So they were excluded, and this would include them. So this is really, really great news. There was all these people who were inherently excluded from the CARES Act for stimulus checks, and it seeks to expand it. What's important about this is, moreover, the mindset of the Senate. The mindset of the Senate, with at least Marco Rubio involved, is to expand stimulus checks, not contract them. If you recall, when the HEROES Act, which came from the House, landed in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, who many think is on the way out from the House, from the Senate, come elections this fall, really said no way, no how. I don't care about your HEROES Act from the House Democrats. I'm going to kill it upon arrival. He then backtracked and he said, okay, maybe I'll give a $1 trillion stimulus package that'll be mostly for big businesses. The Democrats said, no, you need to give it for citizens of the United States. The White House, in the last 7 days, has come right in between and said, no, U.S. citizens need a stimulus package. They need $2 trillion. Where are the numbers and what are we looking at and what are the possibilities on the table? It's all over the place, but so far it looks like the microcosm, the compass, is moving closer towards more stimulus checks. Here's what we're looking at the moment. Mitch McConnell, a $1 trillion stimulus package, but basically focusing on businesses. No one thinks that's going to pass because no one's giving him support for his proposal. On the other side, Democrats, $3 trillion, focusing on one stimulus check, one $1,200 stimulus check, hazard pay, $13 per hour on top of normal hazard pay for essential workers. Third, extension of repayment of student debts into 2021 and maybe forgiveness of some student debts, focusing on both principal and interest. Fourth, the extension of PUA UI benefits and more importantly, extension of FPUC, that's $600 per week from the federal government. Remember, the $600 per week is not PUA, it's FPUC, but it expires in July. The Democrats want to expand it. Moreover, we have a lot of other things that are on the table. And what are they? Well, we have this one, which I just described to you, which is basically a revision of the first stimulus package. We have the Portman Plan, providing you $400 per week if you go back to work, but you have reduced numbers of hours. This is a Republican plan. It's an addition to everything else. Portman does not replace, but it's an addition to. Bradley is also an addition. His plan is really, instead of $400 or $450 per week, many, many weeks, Bradley just wants to give you 2 weeks of $600 or a total of $1,200. Then we have that whole thing about Uber and Lyft, which is really not off the table. The proposal of $2,500 back to Uber and Lyft drivers who are classified as independent contractors by Uber and Lyft and all these other rideshare companies over the last few years. Members of Congress think that you were cut. You should have gotten a lot more benefits. They also want to give you job security and medical rights going forward. Lastly, the most important thing that everyone is focused on is those multiple checks. Most people think that multiple checks is still in the works. Mitch McConnell said, this is going to be the last stimulus check package and don't ever come back to me. You know what? Most people think Mitch McConnell's on the way out, so we won't have been coming back to you. Everyone really thinks that between both Democrats and Republicans that there's going to be multiple stimulus checks until three things happen. I put up 4 fingers. 3 things happen. 1, unemployment drops. 2, consumer confidence rises. And 3, the pandemic settles down. You really have to have all those 3 things in place, and none of those are happening at the moment. First, unemployment rates are really quite bad. A lot of people and a lot of analysts now think that the unemployment numbers are far worse than we're seeing. We had talked about that V. If you remember a few days ago, I had talked about that V, which members of Wall Street are really talking about. Is there a quick, sharp rebound, or is it more like a slow upside down horseshoe? Most don't even think it's that. A lot of worry is now the current jobs that are being offered are what they call them zombie jobs. They're jobs that are going to be there for a short period of time, and then they're going to either furlough, or then they're going to lay off, or they're not long-term jobs. They're seeing that in Europe right now, and they're concerned that the same situation is happening in the United States. Nevertheless, the unemployment numbers are not good. Even Steve Mnuchin says that. Even Larry Kudlow says that. Next, consumer confidence. Consumer confidence is very bad. Whatever you say, the numbers are quite horrible at the moment. And what's indicative of that is that as those numbers remain poor, more stimulus checks are needed. Finally, the pandemic. No one thinks that stimulus checks will stop while pandemic is getting worse. There's 10,000 or 5,000 new cases of COVID-19 in Los Angeles County per day, the worst increase ever. So the situation is very, very bad. And if you're unemployed because of COVID-19, because you are, if you contract COVID-19, you can't work, you can't go to work, you can't do anything, you're going to use UI or PUA benefits, you're going to use your state's unemployment benefits, well, the federal government has to step in. They have to not put the burden of the financial strain upon states. They have to give stimulus checks when one, there's unemployment rising, two, or not improving, two, consumer confidence is not improving, or three, the pandemic is very bad. So there you have it. Really shocking news. Now, on the same front, yesterday we detailed that several industries are really hurting, and that's also suggestive of why a second stimulus package will be coming. Yesterday, travel bans were instituted by New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, barring several states from their citizens or residents or their travelers, however you call them, coming to New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut because those states have too many COVID-19 cases. Well, today there's new indication that U.S. airlines are going to physically ban you from getting on the plane unless you have a mask on the plane. Delta Airlines CEO Ed Baskin said in a statement, staff note issued minutes ago today, "We are now taking the requirement to wear a mask very seriously. Customers who do not comply with this or our other safety requirement risk losing their future flight privileges with Delta." Did you hear that? So not only not allowing you on the plane, but barring you from the airline if you don't comply. So far, they have thankfully only been a handful of cases. Goodness. But we've already banned some passengers from future travel on Delta for refusing to wear masks on board. If you were on Twitter last night, you saw the word Snooki trending. If you didn't see it, go Google it. Go look on Twitter, and you'll see why Snooki was trending. It was not because of the character from Jersey Shore. It was because of a person who appeared at a local city hearing and vocalized her vehement concerns about ever wearing a mask and blamed everyone from the devil to Bill Gates as to why she shouldn't wear a mask. Well, she's not going to be taking a flight on Delta anytime soon. So there you go. Department of Transportation additionally hasn't mandated mask on board, but has cited guidelines of the CDC. So it's really all over the place at the moment. But here you go. At the moment, we have a new proposal for a second stimulus check coming from Marco Rubio. It is retroactive benefits. It is paying people who did not get the first stimulus check now, and that is not a replacement for, it is a supplement to a second stimulus package. Second, we have all this nuances of the second stimulus package murking around, but it's really great news because I really do think it's going to get passed around August 8th. It's going to start heating up around July 20th when members of Congress are back in session, and we're probably going to be seeing multiple $2,000 checks, not a single check. But let's get to some of your 91 incredible second stimulus check questions from yesterday and see what you thought about stimulus checks, how many, and when they should come. Aron Grant, they can give every U.S. citizen a one-time payment of $1 million, and we won't be hurting. I think that's a good idea. Who co-signs that? Roy White, thank all the banks and loan companies and credit cards who have cut their interest rates to zero for the rest of the year. Interesting. Mickey Jones, we're the biggest country in the U.S., and our sister's country, Canada, is doing more for their people than USA is. Very well said. Bob Gabriel, people who think people are on unemployment are overpaid. How about Congress talk about overpaid? I love that comment. And someone dropped a comment yesterday and said, hey, some people like Mitch McConnell says people just want to stay on unemployment. The viewer said, I don't want to stay on unemployment. You know how much I hate unemployment? And I haven't seen a single viewer has said they want to stay on unemployment. It's really out of touch when a member of Congress says that. I don't care what party it is. Robert Henson, I called SBA today to inquire about the grant I've gotten I have gotten funded by my loan. I wanted to be sure that I see my box checked. He's talking about EIDL. Thank you for supporting our channel as always. Fee. What if someone sold things online in a preview your EIDL question? I'll answer that later tonight. Twitch clips. The HEROES Act has already passed the House, so they only need the Senate to pass it. The other proposals would have to pass the House and Senate. Yes, but that's how things work. So just because the HEROES Act is going like this doesn't mean Marco Rubio won't go like this and go like that and get passed faster. Things move in different directions, and what I want to make perfectly clear to viewers of this channel, that the HEROES Act is really not the only cards on the table at the moment. Annette Jackson, I'm happy with anything added to my checking account. Very well said. Nessa Camacho is a longtime viewer of this channel. Look at more than half the Congress don't want to return next year. And the same thing, they want to delay the vote for the stimulus. Very well said. We will be answering that question in our second stimulus check video coming up later today. It's an interesting point. Marina, the PUA questions are a little weird for single member LLCs. I'll be answering PUA tonight as well. Webster, first of all, love you. Thank you for all your advice and support. Rowan O'Dowd, great information as always. McConnell, I hope his state knows what to do with him. I think they do. Peaceful Heart, you're really helping a lot of people. Help a lot of people. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much. Patty Olson, you're doing a fabulous job. And you're doing very reverse on these fun subjects. Happy anniversary. Yes, as you know, this is a cold read. So I literally do things on a cold read. I'm not reading things ahead of time, not scripting it out. I'm reading your comments for the very first time now. M. Willis, our people are suffering, and they're sipping martinis on the beach. Very well said. It's really disgraceful. Members of Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, are taking all these vacations. They're taking a vacation now, while a second stimulus check should be in your pocket, and they're coming back in July, and then they're working for just a month, and then they're taking another vacation. How about they take a vacation permanently? I think that would be a good idea. Edna Tan, $2,000 stimulus check for 6 months is okay, just like the Canadians. Very well said. Lori Toller, happy 2-month anniversary. You are my favorite guy on YouTube. Thank you for caring so much about us. I really do. That is my heart of doing this. Is I really care about everyone. I love hearing about every person's individual personal story. I want to know what your business is, what type of business, how it was impacted by COVID-19. What are you doing now? What are you trying to get your feet on the ground for? What state are you in? What is your senator doing for you? I really know what's happening, because the focus of this channel is to get you the money you are entitled to get. This channel is celebrating its 2-month anniversary today. We've gotten viewers anywhere between $5 to $20 million in grant money or EIDL or loan money that they were entitled to but had not gotten. But for this channel, we reached 10,000 subscribers yesterday, 1.8 million views. So it's been a wonderful run in just 60 days of such a nice, wonderful, caring group of people. Master4499, update on my EIDL grant. I'll do that as always. Peggy Segundo, LALATE equal opportunity offender. I offend on both parties. Someone said I was offending one party more than the other. No, I was not. I always offend both parties, with the exception of Mitch McConnell, who's a party of one. That T-shirt for that. Mitch, party of one. TD, LA would have to file my EIDL grant with taxes next year. I don't know. Comments about Javita. We'll leave Javita for later because she's always late. McConnell and Kudlow have to go. Nestor, is it true that for the 2-month anniversary you'll be giving longtime viewers free LALATE stocks on Webull? No, I don't have a purple background. Maybe someone else can take care of that for you. BL, people need to wear masks. That's a bombshell. Yes, and that's what Delta's telling you. So if you're Snooki on Twitter from last night, you are never getting on a Delta flight if you talk that way again. Miguel the Bronx, happy anniversary. Thank you, Miguel. Darren, 6,000, really? Let's wait for it. I think it's going to happen. Sydney James, called SBA. John, Larry Kudlow. A lot of negative comments about Larry Kudlow. I'm really surprised. You know, Larry Kudlow is fighting for your stimulus package. Larry Kudlow, Steve Mnuchin, Kellyanne Conway, they really want that second stimulus package, so don't be sniping at them. This, again, is not partisan, but they really want to step in. Now, they are inherently vague, and I think the reason why they're vague is because the president doesn't want to really pigeonhole himself into what he's going to give you. But all indications are that it will be a large sum of money, and that $1,200 is not going to cut it. MCG, so simple for a $10,000 grant, make it part of your loan. Really great questions. So if you have questions about today's second stimulus check or stimulus package, drop in the comments below and we may feature in tomorrow's recording. Coming up today, 2 more stimulus check videos, both of which you should watch. Real shockers. As always, stay with LA for more.